interesting questions about the difference between feelings and consciousness with regard to feeling pleasure and neutral and displeasure.
Okay, so if you have gone through that Mahavedallasutta, he explains it, but let's understand what is this consciousness. Okay, see, the word consciousness can be looked at. English equivalent would be awareness. You become aware of something. Let's say you become aware of that light behind you, or you become aware of the sofa, the cushion where you're sitting, right? So once you have that awareness, you immediately start to feel something about it. You either like that cushion where you're sitting or the light, or you might not like it, or you're neutral to it, meaning you don't have a disliking to it, neither you have a liking to it. So the awareness knows, that is when he talks about vijnana or consciousness, he talks about that it already knows, that consciousness already knows that this is called as a pleasant, this is called as painful, and this is called as neutral.
Sorry, is this due to the feeling of such?
No. It has got nothing to do with feeling. It's a universally every being, irrespective of where they belong to, would know that this is called as painful.
Got it.
This is called as pleasurable. And this is called as neutral.
Got it. So something like drinking honey will be universally like pleasurable in a sense. Like, yes. For an example.
Right. As an example is that you have a fruit like a mango.
Yes.
And anywhere anyone eats, any animal would eat it, would feel it sweet.
Right.
And if it is sweet, you generally, everyone agrees that it is pleasurable.
Right. Of course, there are people who don't like mangoes, but that's
anything
beside
sweet,
the point,
anything sweet to the tongue would feel pleasurable, and anything spicy to the tongue will become painful. So we know. Another example is that if you're feeling very hot, you find it painful. And if it is not that hot, then you find it pleasurable.
Right.
And for something there is no reaction at all. You don't either feel pleasurable or painful.
Right. So I have a question regarding that.
Yes.
Because I've read somewhere like a lot of the likings or dislikings are due to your like gati, right? Your tendencies with regard to certain.
That comes to feeling. When we talk about feelings, we'll take about this.
Okay, and I've heard other kind of teachings or talks and people talking about if you look at a painful feeling, you could see it kind of neutral if you don't make a judgment about it.
Correct.
It's so talking about feelings.
Yes, that is about feeling. That's got nothing to do with consciousness.
Interesting.
Okay. So what is there in that Mahavedallasutta? He explains that he asks a question, what is pajanati? That is, what is known. So he says, Sariputta says that pajanati is to know. So what it knows this is pleasure, this is pain, and this is neutral. In the starting, he asked that question, can you define what is this called as pajanati?
I see. Is that the first question about, is that what's translated into the consciousness because it cognize?
Yes.
Is that, that's...
Yes, because it is able to cognize.
Was the question asking about what is vijnana or not?
Yes,
not really.
Yes. So he asked questions that what is that which knows? That is Vijnana. What does it know? He asks Vinyat, so he replies, it is because Vinyati, that is, it knows, it knows.
I see.
So then he asks a question, what does it know? So in the answer, he answers that he knows this is painful, it knows it is painful, it knows it is pleasurable, and it knows that it is neutral.
Mm. Mm.
So what it means is that the consciousness already knows what it is.
I see.
That's got nothing to do with the feeling.
Interesting. So I have a question then.
Yeah, sure.
So later in that sutta, there's a question about whether the feelings and the perception and the consciousness can be separate or not.
It cannot be separated. So
right. The answer, and in the answer, it was saying that I think there's a sequence of saying
yes.
The
what you feel, you perceive. What you perceive, you cognize.
Right, exactly. So I kind of got the impression then the perception comes after the feeling, which and the consciousness comes then after the perception because it cognizes what it perceives.
No, it's not like that. So we should take an example so that becomes easy for you to look at. So let's first understand. So he starts with what is wisdom and what is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we say wisdom, when we say we have a wisdom, it means the person knows. Knowing something as it is called wisdom. So he says the wisdom has to be developed. That is how things work has to be developed. And then he says consciousness should be understood, meaning to say that how this whole thing is working should be understood. So he says wisdom needs to be developed and consciousness needs to be understood.
Okay. So is that kind of system that's understanding the consciousness, right?
Yes.
It's a system to understand the consciousness.
To take this example, very simple example, what's there in the cushion is the wisdom, right? Presently you feel, that is a feeling. You feel it's a cushion, right? Called as a sofa, called as by whatever name given to that. Okay, there is no wisdom to say that what that thing is, except that it is soft. You got the point?
Sorry, I did not fully. Can you say that again?
You're sitting on a cushion, right?
Yes, let's say that.
Okay. Now you don't have a wisdom what the cushion consists of, right? Because it is covered. Yeah, it is covered. It is covered by the skin and you have no idea what it is. Right? So the wisdom, if it is developed to know what it is. So you're developing the wisdom to understand what the cushion is.
Right.
But you're getting conscious or aware of the cushion, right?
Right, yes.
And that has to be understood. So the wisdom has to be developed. That is, what the cushion is made up of has to be developed. Whereas how this cushion works has to be understood. You got the point? So that's the difference between wisdom and consciousness.
So the second part is how the cushion works should be understood. That's what and where does consciousness come into play in this sentence?
Let me again re-explain to you. The cushion, as cushion, you are naming something as a cushion that doesn't exist. So you need to see that with wisdom. Is there a reality called as is there a reality called as cushion? No. Correct? Yes or no? It is a name given to that what you're sitting there.
Right.
Right? So that has to be developed. That is what really is a cushion has to be developed. Okay? Everybody says cushion. Right?
Yeah.
And are you aware that there is something called as cushion? That has to be understood.
Okay.
So first think it over. Just first think it over before we move further. So there is this. What he says is that wisdom, not able to know the wisdom, is that he doesn't know the Four Noble Truths. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the cushion, do you see the Four Noble Truths?
No.
No. And that's what he says should be developed.
Right.
So how can we see that Four Noble Truths? That cushion, then you're trying to protect that cushion, what is there. So that is the dukkha, suffering.
Yes. Yes.
So why there is dukkha for the cushion? Because you want to safeguard it.
Yes.
If something gets torn away or it's not working or whatever it is, and you feel uncomfortable in the body, so you start hitting the cushion. Right? So there is a dukkha, so there is a suffering, and there is a cause for suffering. That means that cushion, you have a craving for having that cushion. Then the nirodha of that is relief from that, is don't consider it as cushion. It is just four elements. So then you don't feel anything at all. If it is torn or it is damaged or something happens, it is there, it's not there, it's not there.
Right. And I think I have to stop seeing it as part of mine, right?
Yes.
That also.
Yes, that's the whole idea. So the developing of the wisdom is not to take it as myself. It's my cushion.
Right.
Just like my bulb. You have a bulb there and you say, that is my bulb.
Yeah.
And this is my home. Like that, you might call this is my body. So you can apply it to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So he says, this is the wisdom of Four Noble Truths. Yes. Okay? And he says that needs to be developed. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Now, he asked another question. Okay, that I understood, but what's consciousness? What do you mean by consciousness? So he says, consciousness means getting aware of something. That this is a cushion, and that is a bulb, and this is Aryu, this is Vilas, and this is India, that is America. All that is coming out of consciousness, right?
Yes.
So you're becoming conscious of what is there. So the question comes, what are you getting conscious of? That's the question he is asking. Okay, now I'm in India. I would like to visit America. So I find that craving will pick me up and make me feel uncomfortable that I'm not in America. So I have a painful feeling. The feeling becomes painful, but it is aware that this is called painful. The feeling doesn't know that this is painful, but the awareness makes it to feel painful. And that's what he says. Can you divide? Can you remove? Can you separate and say that this is feeling and this is the perception and this is consciousness? Can you make it like that? And he says, no, you cannot, because that awareness or the consciousness already knows that this is painful, which is felt by the person.
Right.
Right? So I'm in India and I want to come to America. So I love America. So what happens? Then I feel painful that I'm not in America. Now I feel, because I exist, so I feel painful not being in America.
Yeah, because because of not getting what one wants.
How did I come into existence? I came into existence because of the perception that I am.
Right.
So I am the experiencer. So perception experiences. So he uses a word called as sanjanati. Sanjanati in the actual, if you were to perfectly translate it, is the perceiver who identifies and experiences it. So called as an experiencer. So if you were so if you were to ask me who is going to come to America, I will say Vilas will come to America. I will not say my body will come to America. Right. I will say I am coming to America. So I will say that, hey, Aryu, can you help me with a job? I would like to come and work in the States. Then you say, hey, Vilas, send me your resume. Let me see if I can push your things across here. Right? Now, awareness says that here is Aryu. So ask him. That happens through perception and feeling. So the awareness makes me to feel Aryu. So he says all the three will be going on together. What you feel, you perceive, and what you feel, what you perceive, you cognize. So you cannot separate.
Cognize is that same as being aware of?
Yes, no. Same as being aware of. Yes, you'll become aware of.
Okay.
Cognition means is to recognize. So you recognize something because you already know it. So it knows three things. It knows pleasurable, it knows painful, and it knows neutral.
Right.
So he says feeling also knows those three things. Because of awareness, there is a feeling. If there was no awareness, there is no feeling.
Right. And in this particular case, because of the feeling of being painful. So because you have a certain tendency of wanting to be America, this is the feeling that's painful, and then awareness is aware of this painful feeling.
Yes, it is aware of the painful feeling. So I want to get rid of painful feeling. So what happens? My gati comes into existence. That is, my tendency to be in America at any cost comes into existence. So I will say that, hey, I'm also in software, you're also in software, so can you help me? And you say that, yeah, Vilas, let me try to find out what's your salary or expectation so that I can inform people. And then I already transition myself from this place to America in my mind, right? So I start thinking about how I can come to America, how to give an interview, and how to get the visa, H-1B visa, and all that will be running in my mind, right? Even though still nothing has happened, but I would start projecting them. And this is called as papancha. Okay.
And also manasikara, right?
Yeah, no, that is manasikara is you have yoniso manasikara and ayoniso manasikara. That is separate. Okay, now we first come to papancha. Papancha means we proliferate what we want to do, or what I want to do, I will proliferate. Now when I don't have a proper understanding, that becomes ayoniso manasikara. That is the mind not able to see what is real. It goes behind what is unreal. That is, unreal is coming to America would give me happiness, which is far from truth. Right? But in my mind says, no, if you're in the States, you would be the most happiest person. Right now, staying in India is not the best thing you have. So you will be earning in dollars, you will be having your own home, and you will have a car, you can enjoy life, which is not possible in India. So why don't you go to the States and work? So that is ayoniso manasikara. Wrong way of understanding. Yoniso manasikara is that, whether it's India or the States, it's about earning for a living. So
Yes.
if I'm joining a company in the States, I would be exactly doing what I'm doing today in India, except the location is changed. So I need to prepare my own breakfast, and I need to prepare my lunch and dinner, clean the clothes, and all of that. What I'm doing today in India, I would be doing. But the place is different. Activity remains the same. So there is fear of job here in India. There is fear of job in the States.
Yes.
Right? And then there is hunger. And here also there is hunger. There's hunger to know things, know the technology, and I have to keep on learning new and new technology in the States. And I also need to do the same thing in India, right? And there is competition in America. There is competition in India.
That's all wisdom of dukkha, right?
That's all dukkha. So now what I see, whether it is in the States or in India, the problem remains the same.
Yes.
So now I have done yoniso manasikara. So the dukkha is gone, right?
Yes.
From the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have sent you my resume. I would have asked you, followed up with you, saying that, Aryu, I had sent my resume. It's 2 weeks now. You're not come back to me on anything. And you say that, hey, Vilas, I just said, give me, let me check it up. It's not that I'm going to do something for you. I've sent it to my friends. Why do you do so much of follow-up? Then I say, hey, you know what? I'm desperate for the job, man. So I'm trying to find out. And then that becomes painful to you now. You feel, oh, why the heck did I ask him for the resume? This guy drives me nuts.
Yeah, the mental fabrications that you already made about the job.
Yes. So now every time I'm going to question you why you didn't refer, I've still not got any call from the States. And then the call comes and there's an interview, and then the interview has not gone good. And that guy calls you up saying that, hey, whom you refer doesn't know anything. You should refer right candidates. Maybe he didn't know, or you don't know the type of the organization we would like to run and all that. And you say that, oh my goodness, I did a biggest mistake. And then again I call you up and saying that, hey Aryu, you know what, I got the call, I think I done it pretty well, but can you find out how the interview went? You say, my goodness, this is too much, but still I will find out for the friend. So you're going to cross check and find out I have not performed well, and then you're going to tell me, hey Vilas, you know what happened? The way you have answered, it's good, but not yet to the mark. So maybe you should brush up. And then I'm going to ask you, tell me, are you what all technology I need to learn? So this is endless. Yeah. It's painful, man.
It is.
Right? Okay, let's assume things have gone well and I got the job, and then the consulate is not open and I need to get my H1B for which they have not processed, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing is happening. So that's another level of frustration, right? Now I got my H1B visa and we both are supposed to stay in California, and I say that, hey Aryu, you know what, till I get my own room or something like that, why don't I stay with you? And you say that, okay, but you can stay only for 2 weeks, not beyond that. And I say, yeah, 2 weeks is sufficient. So then I come and stay with you. Now I have only carried my pain. Where is the pleasure?
Mm-hmm.
There is no pleasure.
The pleasure, it's a lot of perceived pleasure.
Yes.
In your mind, you already made up about what you might feel, and then hitting your intermediate goals give you that satisfaction, but it's not real pleasure.
Yes.
Yet, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So a whole life is spent like this. And this is what we call as life, because that is, we proliferate things which don't exist. So that becomes ayoniso manasikara. That means my way of seeing the reality is unreal. It is not true. So then in that case, I get a job, I get married, I have children, and I think that all of that is going to give me happiness. It only gives me sorrow. Now, if
Yeah.
I were to question why am I suffering, and then it comes, oh, because I'm craving, I'm suffering. Now the question comes, why am I craving? Because I'm craving because of the feeling. So I want a particular feeling, that pleasurable feeling which never exists. So now the question comes, why am I feeling? I am feeling because there is a contact with the six senses. And why there was a contact with the six senses? Because of the name and forms. Okay, why the name and forms came into existence? Because there was consciousness. And because why the consciousness came into existence? Because we prepared something called as formation or preparation, what is called sankhara. And why the sankhara came into existence? Because there was avidya, or I have this ignorance that something is pleasurable, something is everlasting, and something can be achieved in this lifetime. And I keep on searching for it. So because of ayoniso manasikara, I keep on struggling in my life. Now I put the yoniso manasikara, so now I understood the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, then the reason for that suffering, then how to remove the suffering, and the path that leads to removal of suffering. So now I'm in wisdom. So if I were to apply to the United States for a job, I will still apply without expecting anything. Because I know whether I work in India or in the States, they both are same. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, in this example, it's kind of a very big change, so there's so many uncertainties. But in some more easier examples, there are like more concrete pleasures, right?
Yes.
Let's say you wanna go to a restaurant and have a good meal, and that's something more tangible, right? So you do get that good feelings from it.
Yes, you
do get it.
No, you get a good feeling, but it is again conditioned. It is conditioned by what you taste or what I taste. Right? Let's say we both go to the Chinese restaurant there in the States or in California, somewhere wherever you're staying. Let's say we both are together and we head to a Chinese restaurant, and then I ask for veg fried rice, and he says that we don't have veg fried rice. Now what happens? It turns itself into a pain.
Well, sometimes the condition do get met, right?
Yes, so it is always conditioned. So what Buddha says is that anything in life we do is conditioned. So he calls that as sankata. Sankata means condition. And your happiness or unhappiness is dependently originated. If the condition matches, then there is happiness. If the condition doesn't match, it becomes sorrow.
So, yeah, I understand that part of the teaching. I guess my point is many people do a lot of work just in case the condition gets met, right?
Yes.
Of course, there's times where condition doesn't get met, but people do everything they could to try to make the condition work,
exactly.
Right? And they try to get it met, and sometimes they do get met, right? So they get some pleasure, and they feel it's a good way to go about it.
Yes.
But that's also the avidya.
Yes, that is also avidya. Yes, that is
going to be last. But it's hard to it's not like the pleasure isn't real. Sometimes it is real, and like you do get the benefit. It wouldn't last.
Yes, all pleasures are real. It's not that pleasure is not real. What happened?
My phone's battery is dying.
Okay.
That's one of the condition of our call.
Yeah. You need to have that. Otherwise, you cannot hear or do anything.
Cool. Mm.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
See, two things we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
One, all feelings are real. They are not unreal. They are real. Got it? All feelings, whether we go through a pleasurable feeling or a painful feeling or a neutral feeling, they're all real.
What's your thought about some teachings about you feel a pain and you just keep repeating, like let's say you do noting meditation and you just kind of see it as pain, and after a while it's kind of going to become neutral, or it is a pain but there's nothing bad about the pain. So is that are we talking about the feeling of that painful feeling?
No. What is being done there is to distract the mind of the painful situation. You forget all about that, so you start thinking something else, so that will go away, but it is there, it's not gone.
So it's not a good
it's not a good one. So what Buddha says is, see, there are people who have misunderstood that upekha is being neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So that neutral, when you stay, it will not give you a painful and a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So what they have, some traditions say that you keep on repeating that this is not painful and this is not painful and this is not painful and this is not painful, and after some time that pain itself goes away, because anything that arises will pass away by itself.
I see.
Right? That is anicca. Anicca nature is arises, passes away, arises, passes away. So the pain arises, passes away, the pleasure arises, passes away. Nothing can be held as real. That is going to stick there forever. Nothing can stick there forever. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
that being the case, the moment, especially with the body pain, like the people who do this vipassana meditation, especially, what they do is they sit for long hours and then they keep on saying that, oh, there is a pain, but there is no pain at all. So after some time, the body becomes numb. You cannot feel anything at all. Right? Buddha never said that you should do like that. So it is like taking it too far.
Cool. Yeah, okay. Sorry to interrupt you. You said that there are two things.
Yes. You are aware of the feeling through that aware. So that is called as vijnana. Feeling is called as vedana. Right? So the question he asked was, can you, by some reason, tell me what is vijnana separated out of vedana? And he says, no, it cannot be done. Because whatever you feel, you be aware of that feeling. So you cannot remove it.
Yes. Cool. I have a question regarding this Vedana and Vijnana. So in a like an arahat's mind, right? In a like perfectly purified consciousness, will there still be Vedana? Well, there won't be Gati like the one you talk about moving to the United States, because the tendency wouldn't be there. But there will still be feeling of a body pain. Is that a Vedana or is that
no. The feeling would be there, but the awareness would be there of the feeling. Now the body is paining. They know it is pain, but they don't react to the pain. They just observe the pain as a pain. They don't add anything or subtract anything from there.
Yeah, I read the Vedana has two parts. The first part is the actual feeling. The second part is your reaction. It's like sampasa.
Yes, sampasa.
Vedana.
Yes, sampasaja vedana. That is, once it contacts, passa, when it contacts. Ja vedana, ja is to be born. So from the feeling born out of that, whatever is being felt. I'll just tell you an example. Now let's say my head is aching, right? It becomes my head. So my head, should it ache? No. right? So now I'll do something about it. Okay, taking medication is right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now what I do is I will start thinking on the feeling. I will say that how did this headache come? Maybe I had a cold water, I had this, I went and I had an ice cream in late in the night. I shouldn't have done that, and this happened and that happened. Somebody sneezed, and that sneeze thing had come, and because of that, it went into my nose, and then there's so I keep on building up stories. So I am thinking on the feeling. Thinking is separate, feeling is separate. They don't mix. I can keep on thinking whatever I want to think, but that doesn't make my headache go away. It will increase the headache. Right. What an arhat would do is he will acknowledge that this is headache. That's all. He doesn't say this is my headache.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't own anything as mine. This is my head, this is my eye, this is my ear, and this is my nose and tongue, and there's no my there. So it's an headache. So what he does is that he goes to the pharmacy, buys the medication for the headache, takes it, and forgets all about it.
So even arhat would
have a
get
headache.
the medicine.
Yes, because Buddha talks about 4 requisites for even for an arhat: food, shelter, clothing, medicine.
Clocking?
Clothes.
Got it. Interesting. Very good to know. Yeah, because I got this misconception that a Buddha or arhat wouldn't would see such thing as neutral or
no. Their mind is neutral. What is neutral? Is that they don't create stories out of
reaction.
Yes, either pleasurable. Let's say we'll take an example. So very good example. Let's say the arhat goes to Las Vegas.
Right.
Okay. Then there is gambling, there is drinking, there is a lot of things. Would he first go to Las Vegas? Yes, he would go. He would not say, I will not go to Las Vegas. If somebody is taking him to Las Vegas, he will go. But he doesn't have a hatred, he doesn't have a liking. He will be neutral. Right? Now, there is a slot machine. Okay, and now I have $100 and I want to make it as $500. Right? So there is raga. Raga means attraction. I want to have $500. If I have a raga, I have a dvesha. That dvesha is that it is, if I lose the money, I don't want to lose the money, right? No idiot would love to lose money. So I have this dvesha, that is disliking. Then there is moha. Moha means delusion that $500 is going to give me a lot of pleasure. Right? If I'm an arhat right now, what is going to happen? I go to Las Vegas. I don't recognize anything at all as a human or this money and this and that. I just take it as something is arising and passing away, and that's it. Nothing else is understood by an arhat.
Process, like you said.
Okay, so I will be talking to you, I'll be talking to somebody else, but I have no interest, nor hatredness, nor delusion at all. So raga, dvesha, moha, all the 3 are gone. So even if I stand in front of the slot machine, I will be smiling and laughing at it, how people are enjoying or suffering because of that, and I have no suffering. I have removed suffering because there is no craving. Craving is the cause of suffering. Since I am not craving for anything, there's no suffering.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Although, I think I heard this, read this book about the Buddha and the Sangha and stuff. So there's certain effort that the Buddha or Sariputta would do to preserve the teachings and then to do good for people, right?
Yes.
So does that not come from? So what's kind of the motivation of that?
The motivation for that is compassion, nothing else.
Got it.
Not for anything
But
else.
compassion, can't say it's like a raga. Because
No, you require to have, no, that is not raga. There is a word to that is, I will tell you, chanda.
chand,
That is chanda.
okay.
Chanda is required for good as well as bad.
Mm-hmm.
So in an arhat or even an anagami, the chanda would remain, no raga. In a normal person, he has chanda raga. So chanda means interest. If we were to translate to English, it becomes interest. Raga means attraction. He has an interest and he has an attraction towards it. Whereas in the case of an arhat or an anagami, he has an interest. He doesn't have an attraction.
So the chanda itself is enough to motivate to do certain things.
Yes. Without chanda, you can't do anything at all. Even to get up from this place and go to that place, you require to have the interest to go.
Or to eat food or anything.
Or to eat
right?
food or just see somewhere or even talk to you. I need to be interested in talking to you. So if I am an arhat right now, if I want to speak to you, then I need to be interested in speaking to you. If I remove the chanda, then there is no interest. So I'll just sit like this. And then you would say, hey, Vilas, we were supposed to meet. I'll say, I don't know. I'm not interested to meet. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, thank you, bye. That's all. So to discuss on the Buddha Dhamma, also I need to be interested. So there is a chanda. But there is no raga, meaning I don't say that this is my teaching to you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, if you were to tell me, hey Vilas, I don't think so you know the Dhamma properly, what should I do now? I will just watch you. If I'm an anagami or an arhat, I don't have this or dvesha is not there. Right? So I will not say that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. Aryu knows anything and he doesn't understand or something like that. I will not feel bad. Or if you say that, hey Vilas, you know the best of the Dhamma, the way you speak is perfect. And I say, wow, why don't you share this video with another 100 people?
Right.
Or I will go on Instagram or I'll go on YouTube or whichever, whatever, Facebook, and I say that, hey, you know what? I and Aryu, we were discussing on Dhamma, and he just now said, here is the testimonial from Aryu. He says that Vilas knows the Dhamma to the best, and he's the right person to approach for Dhamma. So I suggest you all please ask questions to Vilas, and he's going to answer. So that clearly shows that I am still not an anagami either. Forget about arhat.
Mm. But there's nothing wrong with having a interest in promoting the teaching.
Yes, right? Yes, that is true. Promoting a teaching is good, but naming myself and saying that, look, I'm here for Dhamma, that's not okay.
Right.
That shows
yeah,
that.
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was saying that definitely I can understand the arhat should lose the self, like the identification
Yes.
with the teaching or anything.
Yes.
But sometimes I think it's kind of a fine line because I used to didn't understand the difference between raga and chanda, like you said. So like it would seem like having an interest to promote certain things were done out of certain gati or certain but after your explanation, I think it could make sense.
Okay, so it's already past 1:30, I think so, for you. So
cool.
Shall we continue tomorrow for you, or should we continue like this?
What about your time? It's not, do you have stuff to attend to?
No, I need to have my lunch.
Great. We can do tomorrow, or I only have one more question about
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Mahasatipatthana.
Oh, sure.
I was just kind of wondering about. So I listened to your video about Mahasatipatthana Sutta, like the establishment of the mindfulness or awareness. So I'm trying to, in day-to-day life, be aware of more stuff. Although it's kind of I don't see a very achievable, like a tangible goal with this kind of practice. So I'm wondering, is there a certain like goal you can set for yourself? Because you can't be conscious, mindful all the time. I mean, it's ideal to do that, right? But sometimes it's kind of hard to know how well you've progressed, because I mean, I'm apparently are being aware of more stuff, but I don't know whether it's leading somewhere that's great. So how do I measure my progress when I'm doing this kind of practice?
Yes, so there is a very simple thing you can do for 7 to 14 days or something like that. Just look at this way. Everything in this world is perishable, right? Ideas will perish, concepts will perish, and the body will perish, food will perish, everything perishes, right? So there is this inherent nature of perishing, right? And we do everything to protect that perishing. So if the food is to be preserved, we keep it in a refrigerator, but after some time it is going to go away. So we develop products and we don't want it to perish, so we come up with a maintenance releases, and then it goes through end of life, and we create another product and feature and all that. So there is a perishable nature, and anything that perishes has a dukkha, suffering, right? And the effort we put to do everything ultimately becomes essenceless. So this is the meaning of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca is the inherent nature for it to perish, right? So that creates that whatever you wish it to be at that moment, it might happen, it might not happen, right? Because it is perishable nature. Second, even to protect that or lose it, it's a dukkha, because there's a fear of losing it. There's a fear of losing the market, there's a fear of losing the job, there's a fear of losing the idea, there's a fear of losing the opinions and all of that, right? So this is the dukkha. And then